we are going to make use of these terms: irrational numbers, rational numbers, imaginary number, integers, composite numbers, and many more you can think about. Let's dig in. We are going to properly analyze each of these terms accordingly. So let's begin by looking at real numbers as a whole definition. Like I began, a real number is any kind of number we use or you may see in mathematics, except numbers that are not real. And such numbers that are not real are what we call the imaginary numbers. An example of an imaginary number is a complex number. Alright, but we're not digging into complex numbers at the moment. So let's talk about the real numbers. What are real numbers and how do we know them? This chart is going to help us to learn very much about what we're talking. First of all, real numbers mathematically, we represent them with a big R, caps like this. When we talk about the real numbers, we are talking about any number you can think of except the complex or the imaginary numbers. These can include numbers like 0.5, or you can even make it as negative 0.5, 0 itself, 3, or any other number you can think of. You can think of pi, etc. The real numbers are divided into rational numbers and irrational numbers. In mathematics, the rational numbers are represented with the letter Q, caps. The irrational numbers, on the other hand, are represented using the cap R slash a Q, or you can write it as caps R with a little hyphen and then Q. Rational numbers are any kind of number that can be expressed as ratio. So you know them, right? Ranging from 0, 1, 1.5, and as many as you can think of. Even the negatives, so long we can write them as ratio. For example, I can write 0 in ratio form like 0 over 1 or 0 over anything. 1 over 2, 1 over 3, etc. 1.5 can be written as 15 upon 10 and etc. So you see, we can write them in rational form or in fractional form. On the other hand, the irrational numbers are numbers that we cannot write in the rational form. It's as simple as that. Alright, let's proceed. The rational numbers are further broken down into integers and non-integers. In mathematics, we use the big letter Z to represent the integers. Just have that in your mind. Alright, I tell my students almost all the time that when you talk about the integers, we are just talking about the whole numbers. Have it in your mind that way. So when you hear about the integers, just see them as whole numbers. Is that okay? Alright, since we now have this idea that integers are whole numbers can be positive whole numbers, negative whole numbers, and even the number 0. These all qualify as integers. So long the number is not a fraction, it is not a decimal, it is not a percentage form, but it is whole number. So you can begin to think of numbers like -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. These are all integers. Non-integers, on the other hand, are numbers that are non-whole numbers. It's as easy as that, right? Non-whole numbers. So when we talk about this, we're talking about other numbers except from whole numbers. Let's say the decimal numbers, the percentages, the fractions, etc. Well, we'll dig further into that. The integers can be broken down into 3 different groups. The positive group, like I already given an example, the 0 itself, and then the negative numbers. While the non-integers can be broken down as whole fractions. When we talk about fractions, fraction can come in vulgar form, decimal form, and percentage form. Let me quickly talk about the vulgar form. When we talk about the vulgar form of a vulgar fraction is such fraction where the numerator of the fraction and the denominator of the fraction are both natural numbers, but the denominator must not be a power of 10. So if I'm writing my fraction and I write 2 divided by 10, I am not going to call this a vulgar fraction. Reason, the denominator is in the power of 10. But if I write something like 1 upon 5, this is correct as a vulgar fraction. 2 upon 7 is correct as a vulgar fraction. It continues that way. So denominators like 100, 10, 1000, 10,000, etc. These do not qualify as vulgar fractions because their denominators are the powers of 10. Decimals are simple to know: 0.5, 1.5, etc. And percentage form, we can have something like 50%, 100%, etc. These are the percentage forms of non-integers. All right. Now, talking about the positive integers, something that comes to mind are the natural numbers. Natural numbers are simply numbers that we use for counting. You can think about numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and the numbers continue till infinity. Mathematically, we use the capital N to represent natural numbers. Now, natural numbers can come in the form of odd numbers, even numbers, prime numbers, and composite numbers. As always, keep watching Whiteboard Math Party. See you next time.